Hi, this is Chase Utley, and this is the Phillies Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Phillies Show with Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury. I'm Todd Zolecki. We are getting together today to get some reaction with the JT Realmuto news that he is having meniscus repair surgery. He is going to miss 4 weeks. Huge blow for the Phillies. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is the backbone of this team. You know, players, his teammates talk about it all the time. The drop-off behind Realmuto is significant. But my initial take on this when I listened to Dave Dombrowski talk yesterday in Boston is this. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. You guys might think I'm crazy, and I say that because of this. 4 weeks, it could have been a lot longer. It could have been a lot worse. If you nip this in the bud now, you don't have something pop up where he's playing through pain the next couple months. All of a sudden now it's September 6th. Holy crap, I can't play on my knee anymore. I got to get surgery. Or he's just got a big drop in production the rest of the way, and he's not JT Realmuto in the postseason. So that's my opinion. Blessing in disguise. Jim, you wrote something today. I was curious about. You talked with Eric Kratz, a story at PHLY, and he had something similar. So what did Eric Kratz have to say about this for himself and for JT's injury?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I know what you're saying. The timing is a blessing because you have enough season left. If this was, August 30th and all of a sudden it was becoming debilitating and he had to be cut on, you're going to lose him for the postseason. So the timing is good because he's going to have plenty of time to recover, come back, rehab, get hot, be himself again. But yeah, when, I heard, Realmuto is going to have this surgery to repair a meniscus tear in his knee. I thought of Eric Kratz in 2013. Ruben was the GM. You were at the game, I'm sure, because it was in Milwaukee, Todd. I was at the game. Todd never missed a trip to Milwaukee. The food is really good there, I heard. He's also a Milwaukee native. Mom's cooking is good. Anyway, there was a night Kratz stepped on first base awkwardly, and 4 days later, had surgery to repair a meniscus tear in his knee. He had some pain in the knee leading up to it, stepped on the bag awkwardly, and something went wrong. So he was back. He had the surgery on June 12th, and he was back catching at Lehigh Valley on minor league rehab on July 8th. Less than 1 month. They were conservative with him, made him stay there for a week or so, but he was back in the big leagues in just over 5 weeks. And just got some of his insights. He thinks JT is going to feel great. He offered the disclaimers, they have to get in there, see what's going on. He's not a doctor, but if there are no surprises during the surgery, rehab goes well, JT should come out of this feeling great. And picking up on Dave Dombrowski's timeline of about a month, he thinks that's very realistic to be back in about a month. Does that mean, 29 days? Does that mean 35 days, 38 days? That's all about a month. But I think where we are in the season, mid-June, with a nice cushion on the Braves, playing well, you have some, legitimate options in backups in Marchan and Stubbs. I think that it can be a quick rehab, but it doesn't have to be a hasty, we got to get him back overnight rehab. They can do it the right way and still get him back with a lot of season. And Eric Kratz, a guy who caught professionally for 19 seasons, in the majors for 11 seasons, had a similar injury, believes that JT is going to come back and be just fine. So I was really curious to hear his insights, given that he played the same position and had a very similar injury.
Yeah, I'm going to put my manager hat on and talk about this a little bit, and then my GM hat on. And I think that's one of the things that Rob Thompson talks about privately and publicly is injury. That's what he's worried about the most. And that was one of the big concerns. That was I think the original injury occurred when he slipped in the series against San Francisco. I think the weather was terrible here in Philadelphia. We had a really, really bad stretch of weather in early May where they're playing like seemingly, in a rain downpour every single game. And that's sort of where he originally heard it. It sort of bothered him for quite some time. As we've talked about, one of the toughest guys in the world continues to play with it. But there was pretty significant drop off in his offense. And I think it had a lot to do with the fact that he was, trying to nurse this thing through. I don't disagree with you, Todd, in that the timing of it is not bad. The fact that it's not a major surgery. I've had surgery in my meniscus between 92 and 93. Dr. Philip Marone, God bless him, he did my surgery and actually did a nice job. I've never had, knock wood, I've never had an issue since. The rehab was very quick. I could have probably been on the field within weeks, really, believe it or not. And really what happens in a meniscus tear is and where your knee starts to get locked up and sore is the piece that tears away or what have you. It sometimes doesn't fully tear and it flips into your joint. So it doesn't allow your knee to kind of work the way it normally does. And so you have to snip it and clean it out depending on how much the tear is and how significant it is. Hopefully it's probably going through it right now or just already went through the surgery. Hopefully it's not that big of a deal and he can get it going. Nowadays, I mean, it was 92, 93. Right. Nowadays, the way they can rehab and the way they prehab and all that kind of stuff and the kind of shape he is in physically, I would not be surprised if within the next couple of weeks he doesn't start doing activities. I would be, they want guys to start walking and working and doing things almost immediately on this type of a thing. And it's not like he's going to have a lot of downtime physically. So
and that's what Kratz said. Kratz said, if you offer a piece of advice, he would say, start doing it, get on it and do activity immediately. Start moving, walk on it, whatever you can, get the swelling out of there. And Kratz said that he was at a charity function a week after the surgery at a charity function for the Phillies. Somebody said, "Hey, how's your rehab going?" And, he went into a deep catcher's squat to show that I'm feeling really good. And, just to be clear, the meniscus, it's like a fancy name. It's essentially a piece of cartilage and it's a cartilage repair. And I've always envisioned it as like, you get a little flap, you get a bug caught in your eye and, all of a sudden you swell up and it's stuck underneath and it's rubbing against everything and it's uncomfortable and sore and painful. And, somebody goes in there with a tweezer and pulls it out, cleans it out. I've always envisioned that it's kind of similar in fixing this up. So not a major surgery, thank goodness. And Ruben, you mentioned how tough that guy is. He is just tough. That last game of the Milwaukee series, that whole Milwaukee series at home,
he's getting crushed. They get smoked in his groin. He gets smoked in the face on a play at home. I mean, and he just kind of shakes things off. And he's fortunate that he's not one of those guys that can be susceptible to concussions, because if that was the case, I mean, there's a lot of guys who are like that. Yeah. Fortunately for him, his brain's intact.
Ruben, you mentioned getting the GM hat on it, and Dave Dombrowski said yesterday, was asked, does this affect how you look at and move toward the trade deadline? He said, no, not right now. Short term, you have Garrett Stubbs and Rafael Marchan. How comfortable are you guys with those guys handling the load, and how maybe nervous are you with the minor league depth, the AAA depth? Jim, you talked about it a little bit yesterday. I mean, before this is even announced, you have a Ramos Garcia down there and not much else in terms of big league experience ready to play. So let's start Stubbs and Marchan. Can they handle this role for a month, for 5 weeks, if that's what it is?
I think so. This team has a history of handling adversity, at least the last 3 years, pretty darn good. Right. I mean, they lose Bryce Harper when he gets hit by Blake Snell on June 25 of 2022. And they miss him for like 52 games, and they go 32-20. One of the guys who really stepped up was Realmuto at that point. Coincidentally, he went. He hit over 300 the rest of the way after a slow start, mid 800s OPS. You look at the way they stepped up with Sosa filling in for Trey Turner. They lost Hoskins. They lost Harper again last year. If you remember, in 2022 down the stretch, they lost Eflin. They lost Wheeler briefly, and Bailey Falter really filled the breach very well. So they have a history of guys stepping up. It's going to have to happen in the persons of Marchan and Stubbs. I think they're capable. I both think they have strengths. I think they both have strengths. I think they're probably itchy for this opportunity. I'm really eager to see Marchan. Really good receiver. We've been writing about him forever.
Right.
He has had trouble staying healthy, but it's a nice little audition for him. Some of his strengths are receiving and defense and working with the pitching staff. He shows himself well here. He might be the backup catcher next year, and who knows where Stubbs is going to be. Right. Stubbs shows himself well here. He may be solidifying his role for another year. I don't know, but it's a great opportunity for both guys. Do they need more depth? I mean, I think they probably do at the upper levels. I mean, JT just didn't seem right in the last last couple weeks, and you worried about if he was going to have to go down. And would it be nice to add some more depth? Yeah, it's tough to find. There are some guys out there. I'm sure any front office worth its salt is looking under every stone to fortify in the wake of this news. No, Ruben?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, obviously, the catching position is a specialized position. It's a little bit like having a backup quarterback. You want to have somebody who can step forward and be ready to play, 70% of the games, 80%, 75% of the games. If someone catastrophically were to go down, this is not that situation. Right. And I think there's going to be some patience on Dave Dombrowski's radar right now. That said, I agree with you. I think that they're going to be fine. I think they've got, that next man up, next man out mentality. And I think that the clubhouse, Rob Thompson, they sort of nurture that. Hey, come on in here, help us out. You're going to be part of our team, and let's move this thing forward. I mean, you saw what David Dahl did. You see what Cody Clemens did. You see, obviously, what Edmundo Sosa has done over the last several weeks. The great thing about this is, offensively, you're going to get Turner back here shortly. Mm-hmm. You are also going to get Brandon Marsh back here shortly. Those are all pluses, and that's a good thing. And you have a 10-game. That's right. 10-game cushion on the Atlanta Braves. And so this team, its pitching is just too good for them to go in a tank unless everybody breaks. It's just too good. The starting pitching, you saw it yesterday with Wheeler. He comes out a little rusty in the beginning and then just deals. I mean, that's what you get. Strom and Alvarado finish. Just terrific. And just by the way, for all the people who are panicking about Alvarado from 2 days ago or 3 days ago, that's Rob Thompson just throwing guys right back out there. I believe in you. I understand you have a bad day. Who cares? You're still going to be in that situation again the next time out. And he sends them out there and he deals. So everybody can take a good, nice breather. And that's how it works here with the Phillies this year. I am very interested to see Marchan play. There is a history of catchers from Maracaibo, Venezuela, who can really, really catch. They have Venezuelan catchers are really good defensively, and it's a good kid. He has been hurt a lot. I've heard a lot about him. I know got a chance to chat with him. He is really invested in the defensive side of the game for a young player. Most guys are, worried about their offense, and he's a switch hitter. I mean, he can hit a little bit. I don't know what kind of hitter he will be at the end of the day at the major league level, but the kid can catch. I love the way he receives. I think he's totally invested in the defensive part of the game, and that's all they really need, somebody to kind of run the games. And Stubby does a good job. He throws well. Marchan, same sort of thing. He throws well. He catches well. I think he's going to have to learn this staff much more than Stubby does, just because Stubby's been doing it and catching these guys for a while. But I have no issue with this. other than the fact that at some point you have to get this guy back because he's such an important part of this ball club.
Right.
And you will get him back within the next 3 to 5 weeks.
He'll be back with a lot of season to go. He'll be healthy. He'll have a little juice in the batteries. This has a chance to work out really well. And I can't wait to see Marchan. I think Sal Agustinelli first saw him as a 13 or 14-year-old middle infielder in St. Martin, and talked to him, talked to the dad, said, we'd like to put you, we think you could go behind the plate. And that's how they ended up with him.
It's a little bit like Chooch, right? Now, Chooch was a second baseman from Panama, a 5'7", 5'8", 5'8" second baseman who signed for $4,000. Now, Marchan, I think, signed for a little bit more than that. But that said, anytime you get a switch hitting catcher who can handle himself behind the dish, it's the weakest position offensively anyway. And if you can have a guy, one of the most important things for this staff right now is who can handle the staff and run this game without frustration, right? For the pitching guys on the mound. And if you can do that, that's what you need.
Absolutely.
Would you guys, you would want JT to still travel and be around every day, right, Todd?
Yeah, I would think so. If you can be around every day, absolutely. He's such a tremendous presence, and he studies. This guy, he's always working with the pitchers and studying. He's got his iPad out. He's got his papers out before every start. He goes over stuff. What a tremendous asset to have, for Stubbs, and especially for Marchan. If Marchan's got a question, what a great guy to go to and say, hey, what do you think about this plan with it for this hitter, or whatever the case may be. So I would love to have JT around, and JT's the type of guy too. I think he will make himself available. He has told Marchan he will make himself available. So keep him around. Tremendous guy. And
definitely,
he's got such a great presence.
I can foresee all three of these guys in the pitchers meeting with Caleb Cotham and Kaplan, Brian Kaplan, and all the guys that are, putting the plans together. I absolutely can see these guys being together, discussing, working through, and attacking and game planning these hitters.
Okay, so bottom line, we're not panicking.
I'm not panicking at all.
Not even a little.
Even what you guys said, 10-game lead. Yeah. You've got this starting pitching staff. That's the best buffer you can have right now when you lose a catcher like that, an offensive catcher like that. It's more than an offensive catcher, but the starting pitching staff, you've got Turner coming back. You've got Marsh coming back. Schwarber hit 2 bombs on Monday night in Boston. Maybe it's finally time for some Schwarberfest action. You never know. Right. They're in their position. It's always time for Schwarberfest for Jimmy. He loves the
and on top of that, he's not the only leader on this club. He's one of the leaders. They've had so many other leaders that it's not going to take away from the dynamic in the clubhouse. You have other guys that the Schwarbers and the Harpers and so many others, even the young guys are sort of leading themselves. And so you're not going to leave any of that out there either. So it'll be just fine.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't panicking because, a little bit of full disclosure here. We had to lug Ruben off the golf course for this reactionary podcast.
Yes, we did. And I actually shot a really nice 82 today. I was very strong at Yardley Country Club. Boom. Hit it nicely. Nice. It was clean today. Lord. It was clean. I'm getting there. We're getting close to our member guests. So I got to get ready.
Going, man.
I got to start peaking at the right time.
Oh my gosh. Well, all right, guys, thanks for the time. We will be back later this week to kind of wrap up the Red Sox series and preview this big series coming up, weekend series against the Orioles in Baltimore. Talk to you guys later.
Smell you,
Jim.
This is the Phillies Show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Phillies Show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel. If you like what we do, give us a review. Tell a friend. Catch Ruben, Jim, and me on Phillies Nation TV, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. New episodes air an hour before every Saturday Phillies game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Replays air throughout the week and on PhilliesNation.com. Get more of Ruben's analysis during, before, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia. on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show and MLB Network. Read Jim at the All City Network at allphly.com. Find more of me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and occasionally on MLB Network.